next up is basically a combination. There's upper lip up and upper lip down. Depending on how it's called. Yeah, I think upper lip in. So I will rename this. So upper lip up is also maybe considered like a sneer. And basically it does affect a fair bit of the nose. So this would be the kind of primary area of effect minus the lower lip. So again, what's great about having things like the targets affecting the, or having polygroups is that you can control click on a group and isolate that, so then you're not affecting the rest of the face unnecessarily. Again, I usually like to kind of control tap on it once or twice just to blur it. So the upper lip up is kind of like it sounds. You know, the upper lip is kind of moving up. And I should also make sure I can see my teeth as well. So I might also, sometimes I'll do this as well where I just basically hide off the groups that I don't want to see. That can also be a bit useful. So we kind of, again, we want to slide the nostrils up. And sometimes I'll add a little extra bulge in here as well, because these muscles are activating as well. So let's take a look. Okay, so again, I'll probably use move topological in case I want to avoid accidentally grabbing the lower lip. Okay, so that's upper lip up. So again, you can get some exaggeration into a yell or something like that. Some aggression is another thing that upper lip up is used for. You know, once you get rolling with these targets too, it tends to go quite a bit faster. So I'm going to go in and rename this to up lip in. So that is the upper lip rolling over the lower teeth. So I have a very simple trick for this. So again, I'm going to turn off perspective so I can get a better selection of this. I'm going to actually also hold control and switch from a masking pen to a masking lasso. So basically I want to affect this area. I will also hide up that lower mouth cavity as well. I'm going to control tap and blur once. I do want to sort of preserve some masking in the kind of corners of the lips, so I'm going to just make sure that's still sort of masked. I'm going to rotate. So what actually I find happens here is that the upper lip tends to kind of curl and rotate over those teeth. I'm going to pull them down like so. And this stretches, so you're pulling that lip down and over the that region. We can just kind of, you know, soften this up a bit as well in the corners, that effect. So if we unhide all, right, kind of looks like we're maybe biting the upper lip. And I'm going to make sure, I think the corners need a little bit of adjustment. They need to come down just a bit more, so I'm going to try to grab those. Again, hiding those lower cavities. And you can also tighten this or thin this out a bit too in front. We just don't want this to go through the teeth and gums or the mouth cavity at all, so that's something else to be aware of. All right, so it should look a little kind of bashful almost. And if we open the jaw, so it's again always good to see this stuff in combination. So I may also, with this turned on, you know, I might just soften the corner just a little bit because it was kind of adding a little bit of a strange pucker in there. So I'm going to just soften that back a bit. Now I often like to see this upper lip in combination with the lower lip in. So I'll create the next one, low lip in, low lip in. Oops, sorry, that's actually the upper lip. Upper lip. In. Create a new target. Name it low lip underscore in. We'll just fill this thing again. So I'm going to basically do the opposite. So I'm going to hide off everything else but that. And then I'm going to also just hide off the upper teeth because I kind of want to focus on those lower teeth. So again, I basically want to kind of rotate this stuff over. So I generally tend to mask this sort of stuff here. Flip it, soften it. Just touch up the mask a little bit on the bottom part and just in the corners. Then I'll hold Alt and reset this a bit as well. There, just grab a bit more. I find that can be useful, and then I will soften this too, because this, again, sort of stretches and will pull over. I'm going to also pull this a little bit tighter to the teeth and gums as well. So if we see that, we should, again, kind of see it in motion. I think I might just soften out this little area as well, just to kind of make it look like it's pulled a little bit tighter. So then if you see these two together, it's sort of like BPM. So I think I want a little bit more effect from the corners again as well. So I'm going to make sure I have these affecting. Oops, turn and record here. I'll just turn off that visibility there. I'll just pull those corners up just a little bit more. Oops, let's make sure low lip in. There we go. There, just so it's kind of following with that lip. And I think for the upper lip in, sometimes I will, make adjustments as I go back and forth. So I might pull the upper lip in a bit more. Yeah, I think I can pull this in just a touch more. So you get that kind of BPM shape. Right, so this could be like a very tense expression as well, right? So always good to sort of see the surrounding area. What's the effect? Are we getting any strange dimpling or anything like that? I think it's mostly okay. I might just do a little bit of softening in this area here. So I'm just going to do a little bit of smoothing. And I tend to use a lower intensity on the smooth brush just so I can kind of gradually dial in or dial out certain things. I'll turn this one on and just, I want to sort of see that, yeah, I think there's maybe a little too much happening on the sides here in the mouth. So I can go back to my base, remember, go to morph target, delete and store, and then I can, so sometimes softening isn't the best option. Sometimes you want to revert back to the original mesh. So if I turn on record, I'll go back to B for brush, M for morph, and you can hit O to select the morph brush as a combo. And then I can just subtly brush back in just this little outer lip area here. I just maybe want to dial that in, dial that back in just a touch. So I get a little bit of a better blend in there. There. So this is good. I think this is good for expression and for lip sync. Okay, so the lower lip down. Now that's the lip rolling. So again, sometimes you get a freebie. Now this looks a bit too much, too exaggerated, right? It's the lower lip kind of curling down and out like kind of a pouting maneuver where you're rolling the lower lip down and out. Good for U shapes. So I find, yeah, this one's exaggerated, but I'm going to take it at about 20-30% and grab maybe a snapshot of that. So I'm going to go. Something else I noticed, by the way, is I think my default when it's, yeah, you should turn on some smoothing like this dynamic subdivision to see if when the mouth is closed, because smoothing will alter your shapes a little bit. So I want to make sure in default my my lips are closed. So let me just set this all back to 0. I do think there's a slight gap there, so I might just use my isolation techniques, maybe just pull the upper lip up a bit. I think I'll pull the lower lip down a bit, just to make sure that in default it's nice and closed. Okay. So let's, I think, yeah, did I have this negative? Yeah, about 20-30%. So go to morph target just to kind of grab a snapshot of that, delete the previous store morph target, set this back to 0, create a new one. Make sure I just reset the color. Low lip down, so it's DN for down. All right, so low lip down. And that'll be pretty much it. Well, I think I've already done the frown as well. Yeah, so I can move that if you want a certain order, you can move the frown down towards the bottom or keep it closer to the smile. So for that, like I said, it's in record mode, so I'm just going to literally go to morph and put that back in. I'm going to isolate it. And I think I'm going to try, just, yeah, mask this area, flip it, soften it a bit, and go to my rotate tool again. I'm going to try to kind of rotate it from a bit of a lower angle because it does kind of curl down a little bit more in this direction. And you will see the lip kind of bulge. So you see it sort of thinning here, right? So it is maybe thinning a little bit. So I want to maybe inflate on the inside because we're going to see a bit more of that inner portion of the lip. And then we want to just see how that looks, I guess. And I may pull it back too. It does look like it's hanging out a little. I mean, you can always practice this, by the way, right? With a mirror. So I may just want to dial it back just a touch. You know, kind of curve it more from the yeah, let's take a look. So I'll go back into layers and then just sort of dial it back. You know, I think it kind of looks a little robotic actually. So I might actually even pull the sides out a little bit further and pull them down just a bit. So I'm going to hold Alt and pull this down so we get, again, more of a puckering shape. That's not bad. And I might inflate underneath as well a little bit because this stuff looks like it's thinning out. So again, I always like to maintain a decent sort of sense of volume here. So I think that's okay. So that is basically the mouth shapes. I'll move on to eye shapes in a second.